Hey guys, Gundamruss back once again. Well, today I'm bringing you a video on my answers to Gundamruss Gets Personal. So quite a few weeks ago I did a video asking you guys out there to send me some questions, and they could be on anything personal, could be within my my work life or personal life or gaming in general, and just to throw me out some questions and we'd sit back and we'd answer them. So I'm going to try and maybe do this sort of thing, maybe every couple of months. I would think it would be pretty fun. So, do stay tuned. If you see the Gundamruss Gets Personal episode 2 in the future, do jump on that and send me some more questions. It's probably a great way for guys getting like a nice little mini shout out in a way as well. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, really excited to get into this and answer some questions. Now, my first question comes from the YouTuber Dave, I'm a Game Geek. Now, this guy is so cool. He's from the UK. Just a lovely guy. Really enjoy having conversations with him on YouTube and on Facebook. And he does videos on pickups, and just did a recent video on a gaming rig for like racing games. He's a big fan of the racing games as well. So that was a really cool video. So yeah, do check him out. Hit him up with subscribe there, guys. He definitely deserves it. All the links for everyone that has left a comment on this video will be in the description box. So definitely check out each of the channels as I go through with answering the questions. Okay, so the question that Dave has asked, and I'm going to be looking over here because I'm looking at my my Mac Air over here, and the question was asked of all-time favorite PS3 game and why, if you have one. Well, what a good question that is, Dave. If I had to think of what my favourite PS3 game is, well, that's really hard. It would have to be a toss-up of probably Skyrim. Absolutely spent so much time in that game. It's one of my favourites. And closely followed by Sega All-Star Racing Transformed. I just love playing that game with my friends. My friends come over, we still enjoy playing that game. It is definitely one of my favourites. So, to answer your question, it definitely would have to be between Skyrim and Sega All-Star Racing Transform. They're both brilliant games. If you haven't played them, you're silly. You'd have to go out and play it. So yeah, definitely a great question. Alright, the next question comes from the god of PlayStation. I'm sure he's getting a massive big head at the moment, and that sounds so rude, doesn't it? I don't know, this is my dirty mind, sorry guys. Has to be the PSX Collector. This guy has an amazing collection of PlayStation stuff. His collection is the best I've seen out there when it comes to PlayStation stuff. He just solely collects a PlayStation. He's just got every console you can imagine. Just all his memory card collections he's got. He's got all his games are minty. He's put so much effort into his videos, and it really does show. He's a great YouTuber, great friend of mine, and you definitely need to check out his channel. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, smash that button on his page. He is great. His question to me is, are you fed up with all the crazy unrealistic prices people are asking for retro games? Yes, I am indeed fed up. Things like Suikoden and stuff like that. Suikoden 2 is one that I've been wanting to get for quite some time. I got Suikoden through a friend of mine, luckily, but it still ended up costing us, I think, about $100. Just the price of some of the retro games are, it's just really frustrating. Like, there's lots of games that I haven't had the opportunity to play, but I know are good on the likes of PlayStation and the likes of PS2 and that sort of thing. And over here in Australia, I don't know if it's pretty the same everywhere in the world. You can't always find these games out of markets, and you can't always find them in the store either. So sometimes you have to go online to find them. And then when you do go to markets, the people know what they're selling as well. So it ends up being really expensive. So sometimes you have to bite the bullet and spend a bit extra to get the game you want, but other times it's just like, you know what, I just can't justify myself spending that money. A lot of the time I'll sit there and go, that retro game is $150, but then I could go out to the shops and buy, three or four PS3 games, or PS4 games, that are on sale, and enjoy 4 games for that price I'm paying for one. So yeah, definitely is frustrating for me. I often, have to sit here at home and weigh up, is it worth me getting this retro game, or do I want to go out and buy some more modern games, and later on down the track I guess they'll be rare. or something like that, how the cycle of games goes. But yeah, great question there, Simon. Definitely check out his channel. All right, so who have we got next? Oh, my good friend Graham Dillman. Yes, I must say I absolutely love the comments he put on my page. Please keep them coming, Graham. And I love the fact that when someone leaves like a random comment that's unwanted, that you just rip into them. So he's like my little warrior on my page. But keep it up, Graham. Yeah, it's great having you on my channel and seeing what you have to say. You're very knowledgeable with games, I'll give you that. So yeah, thank you for leaving a comment. His question to me was, which is better, Mario Kart 64 on Nintendo 64 or Crash Team Racing for PS1? Well, that is quite a good question. I probably would have to go with Crash Bandicoot, Crash Team Racing, if you will, mainly because I grew up more with the PlayStation PS1, and it probably is a little bit closer to my heart out of the two. As I've gotten older and have had the money to buy other systems, I've really seen the greatness that is Mario Kart 64 and have enjoyed playing it. But if you had to ask which one I preferred better, it would have to be Crash Team Racing for PS1. So thank you, Graham, for a really great question, and as always, thank you for your comments on my videos. Okay, so let's see the next one here. Coco Demon. Thank you very much for leaving me a comment. This is a great friend of mine. He is just an amazing player of video games, and he's great with programming and all that sort of stuff with your iMac or PC, if you whatever you want to do. He's just such a smart guy. Great friend of mine as well. He has left a comment saying, "What got you into gaming and collecting?" Great question. With the likes of the gaming side of it, it was probably back when I was much younger, probably around I think it was around 6 years old, around there. My mum and dad bought me a Nintendo Game Boy, and that came with Super Mario Brothers. And from that day forward, I was absolutely hooked. Just the music, the gameplay, just the story. It was just so addictive, and it was just great to get away from the world and just be a part of that game and go around and jump on all the enemies and go through and defeat bosses and that sort of thing, and just the music soundtracks. Just some really fond memories. I think when I really got seriously into playing games, it was probably when Abe's Odyssey came out on the PS1. Had gone around to my auntie's house and we had played together Abe's Odyssey, and I was just blown away with what the PlayStation could do. And that was actually what came about buying my first console. I bought my first console with my pocket money, and that was the PS1. And I bought, obviously the first game I bought was Abe's Odyssey, and it's probably one of my favourite games, the Oddworld series. When it comes to the collecting side of it, I definitely think once I started to get a wage from work, probably about 10 years ago, that's when I really got seriously into collecting. I had that spare bit of cash that I was able to go out and buy games. Where before it was like you'd get maybe like $5-10 worth of pocket money each week, and you save it for a game, and you'd buy it that way. But you'd probably only get maybe 5-6 games a year. But once I got my job and was able to have some extra cash, I was then able to go out and buy a lot more games. So I think that's what really sparked the bug for collecting. As you were able to buy more, you could see the collection growing. And I think as well, like watching people like Pete Dorr and that sort of thing show off his video game collection, I was like, wow, this is so cool. With over time I could build a collection like this. So that was always like a dream of mine to continue to collect. Ideally, one day I'd love to have a massive room just dedicated to my collection, and hopefully, one day soon that'll come true. So, yeah, great question there, my friend. Thank you very much for that. Okay. Next question was from Jim, great YouTuber as well. Definitely recommend subscribing to him if you haven't. He's put a question as a collector, how do you personally feel about finishing a game? Do you like to finish everything or just dabble in games here or there? Here's probably myself. I enjoy if I like, he wrote, myself, I enjoy if I like a game but get stuck or feel I'm going into more of the same. I put it in the collection and move on. No shame in finishing everything. On a similar note, surely you have some games you own but are yet to play. Do you keep those games separate from your collection, or do you put them on the shelf but make a mental note or physical note on what you've... So I just got to click read more. Like to play. Cheers. Great question, Jim. How do I feel personally about finishing games? I think in general, I think if a game grabs me from the beginning, like for example, great example would be Uncharted 4. I mean, we all know Uncharted games are great, but you know, there could be that chance that we could have played the game and it might not have been that crash hot. But you know, I think when you're playing a game and you play it for a couple of hours and you start to get immersed with the actual story and you feel it suck you in, you know that feeling that you get. You know what that feels like. You just feel like you have to continue and finish that game. Like I remember when I got it, my girlfriend and I were on holidays, and you know each night that we'd come home and we'd finish what we'd done for the day, I was quickly busting out and quickly playing it, and she was good enough to let me do that. She had some of her own things to do as well. But yeah, I think definitely if a game sucks me in enough, I definitely will finish it. Sometimes like I'll buy games, you know, things like the new Just Cause and stuff, and I'll play it for a little bit, enjoyed it, but haven't really got sucked into it, and then I find there's another game that, you know, probably takes over a little more. I'll jump to and from games until I get that game that really takes me in and makes me want to play it right to the end. What was the other part you said? Yeah, I mean, yeah, with the part with putting them aside. If I don't finish a game, definitely I'll put it aside. I mean, I've got quite a few games like, you know, on PS3 that I'm currently playing and dabbling in a little bit here and there. So I guess you'd be right with saying that. I do keep mental notes of games I want to continue playing. I kind of have like a little separate section of mainly trying to keep to like, you know, 5 or 6 games at the most. And then I try and focus to complete each one of those games where I can. Obviously, if the game, you know, I play it for a little bit and I'm just not enjoying it all, generally that'll just get pushed straight into the collection, and I might pick it up later on down the track, but sometimes it might just get left in the collection just as a collection piece. Very good question, Jim. So thank you very much for that. And as I said, guys, do check out this channel. Great guy. Next question comes from Russian Muffin 95, and the question was, do you think Insomniac and Naughty Dog are going to release Crash and Spyro and go like at old times? Well, I wish I'd answer this probably sooner. As you guys would know, that, you know, Naughty Dog is re-releasing the HD editions of the Crash Bandicoot games. Well, I believe it comes under them. It's partly them and Sony. Look, the sad thing is, well, I think in regards to that is that Activision own the rights to Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. So as for going back to the old days, the old roots, it's you know, I always keep them in the back of my, you know, I always think, you know, it'd be so cool to see that happen. I really do want it to happen. I wish it would, but you know, with Activision holding on to that, I think they're just holding on to it as like sort of like a money sort of, you know, sort of like an investment, if you will, for them. I mean, they've done that thing with this Skyline as a Crash Bandicoot, but you know, just watching a recent video, I haven't been really that impressed with it. You know, my opinion on it is, you know, instead of having the barrels that they've got on the film clips I've seen it, they should have like the boxes like the traditional game, and you know, the pieces of fruit that you collect instead of the gems that they're showing at the moment. But I know that has to do with the Skyline world, so I guess that makes sense. But yeah, if Naughty Dog and Insomniac can bring them both of those games back, those series back, it would make my day. But you know, really good question, mate. That was awesome. Okay, so the last question comes from a YouTuber called Harles. Great guy. He's got some cool little videos on his channel, so check him out. His question was, what are your future ambitions for your game collection, and what games are you hunting down at the moment? Very good question. This is a question I always enjoy answering to, you know, people that I know personally. At the moment, my real focus for my collection is the PlayStation 3. I'm trying to get a full sets if I can. I know it's going to take me a long time to do, but it's something that I enjoy collecting for. On a side collection note, I really am trying to get all the steelbook editions of PS3 as well, so that's been quite a fun journey finding those. And I go to the extreme when it comes to collecting the steelbooks. I have to have the slip cover that comes with them as well. I can't just have the steelbook and without the case. With my OCD and that sort of thing, I have to have the case on it as well. I'm also trying to really beef up my Wii collection, my 3DS collection, my Xbox collection as well. Quite a few years ago, I had to sell a lot of my collection off for some personal reasons. Really happy now to be able to get the games back that I once had. I used to have a huge collection of Xbox 360 games. I used to have I think it was around about 300 games to that, and I had to sell them off. So slowly getting that back. Slowly getting back my Wii games as well. So yeah, really good question, and I hope you enjoyed the answer. So there we have it, guys. There's my answers for this episode of Gundamruss Gets Personal. As I said, do stay tuned for the next episode. Really enjoyed doing this. Thank you for some great questions, guys. I hope you enjoyed the answers as much as I enjoyed answering them for you. Please leave me a big thumbs up. I always appreciate that. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, fools. See you later.